Shannon says, is there any way to tell if a man is sincere or pretending when he's saying nice things on a date? Just curious how to screen the kind of men who use a script to get a woman's heart in order to have a physical relationship with her, but is not interested in a long-term relationship. So yeah, unfortunately, there are coaches out there in the world that teach men more or less how to say the right things or how to say the things that they think that a woman might want to hear that is likely to lead to sex or physical intimacy. And I think this is a very sad and pathetic and out of integrity thing to do, because I think it's manipulating people and their emotions. And I think that that is wrong, to put it bluntly. But there are people out there that teach that sort of thing. And there also are men who have very smooth ways of seducing a woman with their words and knowing the right things to say and that sort of thing. And this again comes back to what I said earlier, why it's usually very much advantageous in your favor to take your time on the front end to really get to know how a person is showing up over a period of time, whether these smooth sounding, beautiful words are matched by his actions, because in this case, actions speak louder than words. But if a man seduces you with these words on the first go around or the second go around before you really know him, you don't necessarily have a chance to find that out. And so I would say wait and see if his words and actions match up and slow things down on the front end. I mean, the truth is, whatever your spiritual or moral beliefs might be around sex and intimacy, and some people have those beliefs and some don't, there's a lot of really practical reasons for slowing down, in my opinion, on the physical side of things. And when I say that, I mean becoming sexually involved, because one of the things that men have told me, I've had some really great conversations with men, like in these man panel events, and sometimes before or after the events, the recordings of the interviews, we have some counted conversations. And one of the things that several men have admitted to me is if the sex happens really early on, the focus then becomes more about the sex and the physical. That becomes kind of the central theme of the relationship. And while women become bonded based on our hormonal makeup and everything like that, women typically become bonded to a man through sex. It doesn't necessarily work that way for men. Men actually sometimes feel the need to pull back and detach after sex, not just from a physiological standpoint, but from an emotional standpoint. And so men have told me that sometimes they're not able to emotionally develop the kind of connection with a woman that they might have thought possible if the sex happens too soon. And so there's a lot of reasons from my perspective to slow things down on the front end, because you're giving a chance, like I said, for a man to kind of audition for a higher place in your life and for you to decide whether that's where you want to continue to invest. So hopefully that helps. Chris says, I'm interested to know how to get a man to value me. What are your thoughts about it? My first thought about it is we don't make anybody else do anything else. We don't get a man to do this, and we don't, there's a lot of headlines out there that I think are a little bit clickbaity, to put it nicely, where it says, how to make a man do this, or how to make a man commit, or how to make a man fall in love. Or the truth is, really, do you want to be making someone do something? And the truth is, we really don't get to make someone do something. We get to be responsible for our own selves and how we show up. But in terms of how you, quote unquote, make a man value you more, it all begins with you. It all begins with what I shared earlier about you being centered in knowing your own value. Because when you're really centered in knowing your own value, you're not as susceptible to the man that just has the silver tongue. You're going to say, I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to wait and see how this man shows up. If the pattern over a period of time shows that he's invested here and that he's willing to put forth effort and energy and intention and attention. And so you get to understand who this man is, and you get to understand how you feel about him, how you feel around him, how you feel in terms of when he's away from you, whether he's consistent, whether his actions and his words match up. And by you valuing yourself enough to kind of take that, I'm gonna give this some time and wait and see if this is where I want to continue to invest. Where you kind of flip that switch from, does he like me? Is he into me? Is he gonna call me? You're taking responsibility for your own self. So what I'm saying is, you valuing yourself more tends to attract the kind of people that are more likely to value you more. But it's not a matter of making someone value you more. It's a matter of you valuing yourself more. You value yourself enough to make your decisions based on knowing your own value and not letting your boundaries or your standards collapse under pressure. Because you know what? Here's the thing. When I talk to women, they're like, yeah, of course I'm a high value woman. And you are. That's your true identity. The thing is, though, sometimes our actions are not in harmony with our true identity of who we are, because we get into a situation where there's a lot of attraction, or we feel like we have to be intimate with the man in order to get or keep his attention, but we maybe don't feel ready yet. And so then, even though our boundary or standard might be to wait because it's not yet feeling right for you, sometimes those boundaries or standards collapse, which is not being true to your true identity as a woman of high value. You are, that's your inherent identity, but sometimes our actions are not in congruence with that and don't support our true identity of being a woman of high value.